right, babies, it's that time again. Oh, yeah. We are in Luke 8. And oh my gosh, there is a lot there. Some curious things, some very familiar things, some life-changing things. So let's get into it. Let's see if I can remember more than yesterday. All right. Let's see if I can put this all together. One of the curious things in the chapter is, by the way, some people think Luke was written by a woman. I don't think so. I'm not sure why they say that. Also, the author of Luke is also the author of Acts. And I really wish people, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, I wish they would have used their real names. I think John is probably the only one that's really the true name. Maybe Mark. But anyway, when you put out a gospel of Jesus, you're talking about the truth, and you started off by attributing it to somebody more famous than yourself to get it more widely accepted. That is antithetical to the gospel, right? You want to let the simplicity of the message and the power of the message be the force behind it, but whatever, that's a whole nother story. So the curious thing is, Jesus says to his disciples, to you it's given to understand the mysteries of the kingdom of God. Oh yeah, baby, that sounds exciting. I like that. In fact, that's what life is all about. But then he goes to say, but to others, they get parables so that seeing they wouldn't see and hearing they wouldn't understand. What? What's the point of going to all nations and preaching the gospel if it's already intended that some people are not supposed to hear or understand? It just seems really strange to me. Now, what bothers me about that is hard to understand stuff that is paradoxical and contrary to traditional thinking. Is a very strong characteristic, I think, of something that can authentically be attributed to Jesus. Even in the context of him being ultimately crucified, he represented a threat because his behavior and his words were a challenge to what was considered sound, social, religious precepts that kept society going. So when you come up with these verses that they don't make sense, I hate to dismiss them because of their contradictory nature, because I feel like that's just me in my limited thinking, being unable to untangle a paradox. So the only way I've come up with to untangle this one, which is fine for the moment, and anytime I come across this, I always leave it in the hands of God, that I don't need to know the answer to this question in order to be useful today in the kingdom of God, changing the world, bringing Jesus, bringing people face to face with Jesus by my behavior and my alignment with Jesus. I don't need to know it. I'd like to know it because I'm curious, and God says, or Jesus says, we live by every word that comes from the mouth of God. So if this was something that God actually said and did through Jesus, then I want to know about it, because that's how I can live. But if I can't get the answer today, that's okay, because I've got lots of other things to land on. As you know, I speak on those things frequently. Being, trust, obey, and love. Those are your three biggies. So even when you come across these conundrums, that's fine. Just lean back on trust, obey, and love. And then in time, you'll get your answer. Okay. So the way I'm, just to get through the day and not get too frustrated over being unable to untangle this one, I'm saying, this saying is not contradictory, but is in alignment with the overall paradoxical nature of God, which is, yes, he wants all people to come to the saving knowledge of Jesus. Now, when you say knowledge, immediately think of the Gnostics, and the Gnostics were the earliest Christians who were tuned into this secret knowledge that they believed was necessary to be saved, as opposed to later Paul saying it's only by faith that you're saved, and then James counteracting that, saying, yeah, but even faith without works is dead. So what are you saying, Paul? I think in a similar regard, this passage, to me, at this point, means God is available, but he's going to be found when you seek him as treasure. So if you're just somebody who happens to show up in one of Jesus's events, where he's speaking to a multitude of people, you're not going to get a life-changing experience if you're just very easily discerning what he's saying. So in that sense, that's why Jesus is saying, to you is given the knowledge of the mysteries of the kingdom of God. But to others, it's I speak in parables, so that seeing they don't see, and hearing they don't hear. But if they really want to press in and discover what it means to be a disciple of Jesus, which means you have to pick up your cross and follow him daily, and even be willing to be crucified on that cross because of the love of the truth and the acknowledgement of the magnanimity and beauty of God through Jesus by his Spirit, then yeah, I will give you all the keys to the kingdom.